Okay.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to TechGig webinar series, our endeavor to empower techies. We believe that sharing of knowledge is the key to enhance our skills and grow us as professionals. With this principle in mind, we have initiated a series of webinars conducted by industry experts to give you all a crisp insight of various domains. The topic of today's session is Integrated Test Management Framework for ensuring quality in software development processes. And our guest speaker today is Amit Dasgupta. He's the Director, Product Solutions with Kovair Software Inc. Amit has been working with the Kovair ALM product for the past several years. He is currently heading the development teams for the ALM and Omnibus product line at Kovair and has been working on the product for the last 10 years. He has been involved in architecture, design, and development of Kovair's ALM product. He has helped many customers discover the benefits of different aspects of ALM by designing, building, and deploying solutions for them. So, without further delay, I introduce you all to our guest speaker. Over to you, Amit.
Thanks, Aradhana. And just a moment. I hope my screen is visible to all.
Yes, your first slide is up. You can go to slideshow mode and start the session.
Okay. So, good evening, everyone, and welcome to this session of Integrated Test Management. So, to start with, let us have a look on the agenda for today's presentation. So, what is software quality and why is it needed? And how QA and testing together helps in achieving quality. Then we will have a look into the shifting paradigm of today with the evaluation of different development methodologies, followed by Kovair ITM platform. And then we will have a look into the integrated testing scenario, which is just a sample scenario to discuss. So quality makes a difference. I think this is a very common thing that we are all aware of. So what is software quality? Now, software quality can be often described as the fitness of purpose for a piece of software. And the management of quality includes the process and activities of the performing organization that determine quality policies, objectives, and responsibilities, so that the project will satisfy the needs for which it was undertaken. And quality includes the process of planning, QA, and quality control. So all these things need to be followed over 6 different factors, like over the functionality. Are the required functions available in the software? That is the functional compliance. Then is the software easy to use? On the usability front. On the maintainability front, the quality needs to be measured by the fact that how easy is it to modify the software. Then on the right hand side, you can see some other major factors on which the quality of the software gets determined. The first one is reliability, which is one of the basic need for any software, that how reliable is the software. And then comes portability, how easy it is to transfer the software to another environment, because we often see the need for portability in terms of different softwares. And finally comes efficiency, which is again one of the key factors for measuring quality. That is, how efficient is the software. So we talked about the basics of what is software quality, but now the big question that comes into picture is why quality? Why do we need quality, or what are the major problems that may come if quality is missing in any software? Number one, clients and users expect quality. So for whom do we create these softwares or develop these softwares? Is for the clients and the end users. So they always expect a good running quality. Just think of a scenario in today's mobile world when we are all acquainted with different mobile apps. If we install an app and then it has any problem in quality, then we immediately uninstall it. So which means that the user has lost their patience of accepting bad quality or poor quality. So that's why that is the primary factor for quality, that clients and users expect quality. Then poor quality does what? It results in rework at an additional cost. So sometimes we see that due to poor quality, we need to invest more time or do much of a rework to fix that quality, which not only takes away the time but also incurs an additional cost. Then poor quality results in problems that can be difficult to diagnose and solve. It often happens in the software industry that a quality problem occurred and we are running behind just to figure out the reason behind that problem. So these are the three major factors which we feel for which quality is needed. So now we are done with the definition of what is quality and why we need quality. And obviously when these two questions are asked, the next obvious question that comes into mind is how to achieve quality. So now let us discuss how the combination of quality assurance and testing helps us in achieving quality. So as you can see in the picture, that QA plus testing gives rise to good software. So what is QA? It's the improvement of development process. That means it needs to go on a regular basis and the process needs to be developed continuously. It also helps in prevention of bugs from appearing, because we all know that prevention is better than cure. On the testing side, what they do, they find bugs and their responsibility is to uncovering bugs before actual users find them. So when we combine these two and complete the entire circle, it gives rise to a very good software, or you can say a very good quality software. So then, now, with this slide, the next question that comes into mind is that are quality and testing the same thing? No. The answer is no, and let us now find out why. Major reason is, so in this slide you can see that there are three different aspects of quality and testing. One is quality assurance, one is quality control, and the third one is testing. So what is quality assurance? It ensures the implementation of processes, procedures, and standards in the context to verification of developed software and intended requirements. Whereas on the quality control side, it ensures the verification of developed software with respect to the documented one. And the actual testing, it denotes to those activities, or it caters to those activities that ensures the identification of bugs or error or defects in the software. Again, on the quality assurance part, it focuses mainly on the processes and procedures rather than conducting the actual testing on the system, wherein quality control focuses on actual testing by executing software, and actual testing is always focused on the basic level testing. Quality assurance is process-oriented activity, quality control is product-oriented, and testing is also product-oriented. So from these things we can say that quality assurance is preventive, quality control is corrective, and testing is again some sort of preventive. It prevents the users to get bugs because it finds the bugs earlier than them. Quality assurance is a subset of software test lifecycle, whereas quality control can be considered as the subset of quality assurance. That means at the top, the big circle is quality assurance. Within that you can say that quality assurance is a part of it, and then within that circle, testing can be another subpart. So with all these things that we discussed till now, let us find out that where do we stand today. So there is a huge shift of paradigm from the earlier days where people used to work in silos and had to do many manual handoffs. But now you can see in the picture that the organizations are more focused on cross-functional roles, high collaboration, and result orientation. That means with the demand of the market, with the speed with which the market wants the software, this paradigm has shifted, and now it is more important to have cross-functional roles, high collaboration, and result orientation of the software. The change of this paradigm has also changed the conception of application development lifecycle. People are moving from waterfall to agile. So what is the difference? What is the basic difference between these two? So in waterfall, we all know that the methodology is long, it's large, it's linear, and late. So that the time to market is around 12 to 36 months. And the life cycle defines by define, code, test, deploy. That means one step comes only after the other. But today, the time to market has to be shortened, because in this world of competition, it's not possible for any software to hold back and deliver in a much longer time than the competitors. So for that, the things or the methodologies that came into picture is Agile, which talks about iteration or iterative development, incremental development, and innovative development. Here we can see that the time to the market has reduced considerably to 1 to 6 months in comparison to 12 to 36 months of waterfall model. And here the life cycle is not step by step, but it is a continuous cyclic loop where it says define, code, and test. That means small pieces. Break the software into small pieces, define it, test it, code it, test it, release it for the user's feedback. And this way, in an incremental manner, it achieves the final stage. And the deliverables in this case are always working and tested. So having said all this, in reality now let us check that what is the major requirement for achieving quality. So can we achieve good quality without centralized visibility for the progress of the release? Cross-tool database traceability? Because we all know that today in the software development lifecycle, it's not that everybody or all the teams are using the same tool. They are geographically distributed, and they also use different tools for their own purpose. So from the management perspective or from the quality perspective, if we don't have a central tool which allows you to view the traceability across all these tools, or to view the tool data-based analytics, then the biggest problem is how to monitor the quality. So to achieve quality, we need some real-time updates from cross-functional teams, which allows or which uses different tools from different vendors. And that leads to integration between all the tools involved in the ecosystem. So these are some of the major factors which we feel that is very much important to achieve good quality. So now with this problem statement, let us look into the solution which Kovair is providing today. So we call that Kovair is not just a solution, but the solution. Now let us look into how. Kovair ITM framework, it's a comprehensive platform for managing end-to-end quality, where multiple teams from multiple locations use multiple tools of multiple vendors for multiple ALM functions, including test management. So that means we cater to the from, use, of, for, including the test management. So Kovair ITM platform, or the Kovair integrated test management platform. So if you look into this, that the Kovair integrated test management platform, it is integrated with all the different phases of ALM. In some parts, Kovair has its own solution, and in some phases, Kovair provides or integrates a missing piece by integrating the software with some best of the breed tools. And like in requirements management, Kovair provides the integration with DOORS, JAMA, RRC, and Requisite Pro. Whereas on the design and code management, it is integrated to SonarQube, Visual Studio, RSA, Enterprise Architect, and Eclipse. And on the configuration management, it is integrated to SVN, Git, RTC, and TFS. On the build side, it is integrated with Hudson, Jenkins, and MS Build. And on the test management part also, though Kovair has a solution of its own, it is integrated with some of the other tools of the test management domain, which is HP Quality Center, IQM, Selenium, and TestLink. So on the automation side, we also provide the integrations with Selenium and tools like HQTP. And on the defect management, again Kovair has a solution of its own, along with integrations with tools like Jira, Find Bugs, and Bugzilla. So with all these integrations which Kovair test management platform has, it allows the users to overall analyze, plan, execute, evaluate, and act on the testing activities. And when you do that from a central web-based tool, which is completely configurable in a codeless manner, the resultant or the output that you get are a cross-tool traceability, a cross-tool cross-database reporting, and a cross-tool real-time dashboard. So with all these, you can understand that from the quality perspective or from the management's perspective of looking into the quality gets served. So Kovair test management, what does it offer? It allows creation of test cases traceable to requirements in the system. It allows importing test cases from the Excel, because what happens, what we have seen, that in today's world, with the lack of a proper testing tool, almost every organization maintain their test cases in Excel. And now when we shift from the Excel to a centralized tool, then obviously there has to be a functionality which allows the users to import those test cases from Excel. Then test cases approval in collaborative manner. Again, one of the major difference between offline media and a centralized tool like Kovair. When you are maintaining the test cases in an offline medium like Excel, then for getting the approval of those test cases, it becomes the daunting task of the manager to distribute those Excel files, get the comments, and consolidating those review comments into the Excel and preparing the final Excel with those test cases. But when we are shifting it to Kovair, which is a centralized tool with this inbuilt collaborative feature, then all the stakeholders can easily view those test cases and review them in a real-time manner. Kovair supports reusing of test cases as a part of another test case. So sometimes we have seen that in case of sequential test cases, we don't want to write the test cases again and again, but would like to reuse the test cases in order to save time and to increase the productivity. So Kovair allows to do that by allowing a test case to be a part of another test case as a test step. Kovair allows managing both manual and automated test cases. It manages multiple versions of test runs for each test case and test script. It automates test scheduling and running test cases in batches. So what it means is that it's not only support manual testing by automated testing through some third-party tools, but it automates the entire testing scenario. So if we talk about a sample scenario that, especially in this today's date of continuous build or continuous integration, that whenever a code gets developed, the build gets done, and every day at midnight, the test suite needs to run, irrespective of which tool is which tool is getting used for automation or which test cases are getting used. So so in Kovair, using the scheduling mechanism, you can actually schedule this so that every day at midnight, automatically the test suite starts executing, and in the morning gives you the result that how many has passed and how many have failed. Automates defect capturing from failed test cases into Kovair or other repository. That means that you can set up certain policies or rules wherein whenever a test case fails, a defect gets automatically created, and this defect gets logged either into Kovair defect management system or into any other defect management tool. We have seamless bidirectional integration with tools like HPQC, QTP, RQM, RFT, RTRT, MTM, Selenium, and TestLink. Kovair allows you to reflect results of automated scripts executed in tools like QTP and Selenium. It provides real-time reports and dashboards reflecting status of test cases, and it also provides traceability with other artifacts of ALM. So as we saw in the previous diagram, that Kovair test management solution is integrated with all other different phases of application lifecycle management, and since this is a centralized tool, so it allows you to achieve traceability across all the tools data and give you a central visibility into it. So with that, let us move and talk about a sample integration scenario. So as I was saying that different users or different teams generally uses different tools for their own purposes. So this scenario, let's say in this scenario that the requirements are getting handled at IBM doors. The developers use Eclipse for coding and Subversion gets used as source control system. We have chosen Hudson for the build. We have chosen Kovair for test management and Jira for bug. So what happens? All the stakeholders, they keep on doing their jobs on their own tools without the need of hopping around different tools to view different artifacts. So let us think of the life of the analyst. He enters the requirements in IBM doors. With the help of Kovair Omnibus engine, which is basically responsible for the integration that Kovair provides, these requirements, once gets approved, moves into Kovair. And then sitting in Eclipse, the developer of that particular requirement, he views those requirements of doors. That means the developer doesn't need to go into doors or to open doors to view the requirements. Sitting inside the IDE, right within Eclipse, they can view those requirements, they can view the details and keep on writing their code. And once the code is written, they just checks in the file into Subversion. And when they are checking in the file into Subversion, they are giving the corresponding requirement ID so that the traceability gets established between the code file and the requirement. When these things are getting done in parallel, the testers or the testing team can keep on writing the test cases, the test steps, that means they can prepare the test suite inside Kovair. Now, with the workflow engine that Kovair provides, or with the, what happens that when the codes gets checked in, this code gets related with the requirement that has flown from doors into Kovair and shows the traceability that this requirement is related to this code. And the test cases which are getting prepared by the testing team in Kovair, those also gets related with the requirements that came from doors. And as I was saying, that Kovair has a very robust task-based workflow engine which allows users to get notified when a job gets complete. That means the user has a to-do list within the Kovair system or within the Kovair application, and in that to-do list automatically a task appears when the previous activity gets completed. That means the requirements gets approved, the developer knows that okay, he has a task to develop against that requirement. When the development gets complete, the tester knows that okay, the development is complete, now I need to go ahead and test that particular thing. Or when the development is complete, the build manager also comes to know that the development is complete and the build needs to be fired. So what happens? The build manager then does the build using Hudson, which can be automated also. And once the build is done, then the Kovair test management solution, after it gets the notification that the build is complete, it automatically executes all the test cases that has been written to be tested for that build. Now when this test execution happens, the script gets executed, and if it fails, it creates defects, and those defects are logged into a tool like Jira. And then these defects gets resolved, because if there is a defect, the developer sitting within the Eclipse IDE again comes to know that a defect has been logged in Jira against the code that the developer has written. So you can understand that, and this way the entire life cycle goes on. So you can easily understand that there is no need for the individual stakeholders to talk to each other. The manual handoffs are gone, and from a central tool, everything is getting controlled automatically. But can this ensure quality? The answer is yes. But how? The manager, from the quality manager, the QA manager, or the project manager sitting inside the central tool can view all these activities and monitor them from within a web-based system. That means the life of the project manager becomes so easy that he don't need to run behind different team leaders to get the status, create the reports,
and inform the management that what is going on or what is the status of the quality. Sitting inside the tool using the reports and dashboards of Kovair, they can easily figure out that for the current application development, how many defects are there, how many open defects are there, how many critical defects are there. And based on that, based on the urgency of the defect, based on the deadline, he can easily notify the respective teams to take care of that. So this way, the Kovair integrated test management platform helps you to achieve or get a centralized control over the entire application development lifecycle. Now, with that, I would also like to mention another thing, which is that Kovair also, through this framework, Kovair can also facilitate DevOps. So again, the question comes, how? So as you saw in the last sample scenario, that all the activities that happens over the entire application lifecycle can be automated with the help of certain things like task-based workflow automation, then integration, and all those. And with this integration which Kovair has, I would like to throw a little bit insight into it. So the integration that Kovair provides is a SOA-based ESB architecture, wherein it allows different tools like legacy tools, best-of-breed tools, homegrown tools to hook into the ecosystem and talk to each other. So our slogan on the integration part is, bring any tool to us and we will make it talk to any other tool in the ecosystem. So that way, now let us consider this scenario of DevOps. So on one side, we have a PPM tool called, let's say, Clarity. And on the operation side, let's say we can have tools like Kovair, BMC Remedy, or ServiceNow. And the development gets done by following Agile, which can be followed in Jira or Kovair or Rally. So now what happens, whenever a portfolio item gets created at Clarity, it comes to Agile for the respective development. And the development will be getting done in using Agile. So the requirements gets created, the development happens, the build then takes place, and the testing gets done. So this way, a complete life cycle is continuously going on with the help of different tools coming from different vendors through the integration and the workflow that Kovair provides. And on the other hand, when the ticket comes in, it comes in for testing, it gets resolved, and the status gets updated automatically into the IT system. So this way, the entire scenario and this testing is a part of this entire scenario of development and operations. And that is how the total integrated framework takes care of or facilitates the entire scenario of DevOps. So then coming to the conclusion side. So all that we discussed, let me just summarize that what is Kovair all about. So Kovair ALM Studio platform is the most versatile and flexible in allowing users to make choices based on their quality needs. They can select their tools, they can select their environment, and then maintain the quality of the software right from the beginning till the end. It facilitates multiple built-in or integrated functionalities for better quality control. Kovair integrated Kovair platform can be very beneficial for offering various types of test services, and more service companies these days have recognized this. So many service companies have used our platform to integrate different tools and then giving the client the flexibility of monitoring quality from start to end. All the key aspects of Kovair product lifecycle, from planning to requirements to development to testing to delivery to operations, are part of this solution. And we all know that quality is not the responsibility of any single phase or any single team. It has to be there for each and every team in each and every phase. Whenever the item is moving from planning to requirements development, there should be a quality gate to ensure that the planning is proper. When it is moving from development to testing, then again there needs to be a quality gate and all these quality gates should have some reports or some checklist only after the sign off of which it can go to the next part. And all these things can be automated and achieved through this integrated platform of Kovair. Major need of users for process automation, traceability, data repository, reports, dashboards, and project management are addressed by this solution. So what happens, since Kovair, we are calling Kovair as a platform, the benefit that it gives is that it allows users to create the objects that they want to use. It allows them to configure those objects, meaning creating attributes for those objects, defining the relationships between those objects, defining different ways of viewing those objects or filtering those objects, and then at the end it allows to configure the different traceability views by which the manager or the management or users of different roles would like to view them. Because for the team leader it may be a different type of traceability that is of importance, but for the project leader that same traceability may be important in some other way. And as we go up the hierarchy, let's say for the project manager or the quality manager or even up the delivery manager, they all have their own needs of viewing this quality or to monitor this quality. So to cater to all these different roles and responsibilities, Kovair allows you to configure the tool in such a way so that you can create your own views, your own traceabilities, and your own reports and dashboards. This way, Kovair caters to different users and satisfy their different needs so that the ultimate goal which we are talking about today, the quality of the software that is getting developed, can be achieved. So with this, I would like to conclude my presentation, and I hope that this gave you a very good insight onto how Kovair integrated test management platform can help today's organizations to achieve quality right from the beginning to the end and make their customers happy with a good quality software. So with that, Aradhana, I think I'm ready to take up any questions.
Thanks for this insightful presentation, Amit. Let's quickly take up the question as you have just mentioned. I would request you to read aloud the question and their answers so that all our users may listen to your insight. So are you able to see the question coming into you?
Okay, yeah, just let me open up the questions panel and so there is a question from Mahesh. So does Kovair provide the cloud solution for running the test cases on multiple browsers and multiple systems at a time? Yes, Mahesh, so the answer is yes, but the thing that I would like to say over here is that Kovair does not have any automated tool of its own, automated testing tool of its own, but it has the integration with Selenium or QTP. And let's say if you talk about Selenium, then using Selenium and the integration that we have with Selenium. So let's say if your test cases are residing at Kovair and the scripts are residing at Selenium, then using this combination you can actually achieve what you have said. Okay, so the next question is from Anil Kumar Upadhyay. Can Kovair allows automation of UI testing? So I think the answer is same, that since we don't have any automated testing tool of our own, but yes, if the automated tool that you are using, if that supports this with our integration, Kovair can do that. What is the direct, okay, there is another question from Mahesh, that what is the direct relation between Eclipse and Jira in the sample integration slide? Yeah, so the direct relation between Eclipse and Jira. So let's say when the way we integrate Eclipse is through the plugin. So what happens when this plugin gets installed into Eclipse, then a developer who is working using Eclipse, they can view each and every artifact coming from different tools within the Eclipse. So if you have a defect in Jira and that defect is assigned to that particular developer who is working in Eclipse, then the developer don't need to go and open Jira to view the defect, but he or she can be there inside Eclipse, view the defect, view the details, work on it, fix it, and once it is fixed, they can change the status of the defect from within IDE. And once the status of the defect is changed, that status gets automatically reflected in Jira. So that is how Eclipse and Jira is directly related in the sample integration scenario. Okay, then another question from Anil, how Kovair handles failure of test case when results of one test case is input to other test case. Yeah, so in that case what happens, you can define the rule that if you want to say that, okay, if my previous test case fails, then automatically stop execution of the upcoming test cases, you can do that. Or if you want to say that, okay, the next test case should be independent of the previous test case, that means whether it fails or succeeds, the next test case has to be executed. So the way you configure the tool, it will behave like that. So again, Anil's question is, does Kovair able to handle test cases with synchronous and asynchronous response? The answer is yes. For automated testing, yeah, you can get the test case results both in synchronous mode as well as in asynchronous mode. What matrices Kovair generates as part of quality report? So with the help of the Kovair engine, Kovair can generate all metrics that you can think of in terms of quality. I mean, the defect injection rate, cost of quality, or anything that you may think of. Then the next question is, does Kovair facilitates in quality strategy planning for project? If yes, how? So Anil, I would say that at a grassroots level the answer would be yes, but yeah, definitely would like to know that what exact quality strategy planning or to what depth quality strategy planning for project you are trying to do, because we have a project management piece which allows you to plan the entire activity, create the WBS, create the scheduling and all those. So if that is your requirement, then it's fine. Or if you have something else in your mind in terms of quality strategy planning for a project, then obviously with the platform that we provide, you can do that. Then one question is there from Ramaraj, that how Kovair is useful for preparing automation reports. So here the answer is that, again, the same thing, that we build whenever an automation test case is executing, then whenever an automated test case is getting executed, the results comes in, gets associated with the test cases. And so from there, if you want to figure out that, if you want to generate a report that, okay, how many test cases has failed, or let's say if you click on those results that got associated with the test cases, then you can click on that and see that how many the entire actual result in the HTML format. Because some tools, what happens, automation testing tools, they provide those things in a HTML format, the entire result, and that entire result, or the HTML based result, can be viewed from Kovair itself. Okay, then we have another question from Ravindra Joshi. Kovair is freeware or we need to take a license? Does it have any free trial run? Yeah, so for that, Ravindra, I would request you to contact our sales team, because yeah, Kovair is not freeware, it needs licensing, but yes, we provide trial run. So for that you need to contact our sales team, which is sales@kovair.com. Then Vikram, how to maintain agile requirements and user stories, Apex also how it maintains with different builds on or versions. So how to maintain agile requirements? Yeah, so as I said, that the platform is completely configurable. So with that, you can easily maintain your agile requirements as user stories if you want, or as requirements. So let me just see what are the other questions that we have. So let me just check if there is any other question. Okay, so there is one question from Chandan Pandit. Is there any alert based system in Kovair? Yeah, so these alerts are there. You can configure these alerts, like if you want to say something before saving items, or let's say at the beginning of login you want to give users some notification. And also we have a very good notification mechanism wherein you can generate those notifications against each and every event. So that is there. Then how test failure, okay, there is another question from Ravindra, how test failure generates defect automatically. Yeah, so Ravindra, what happens over here is that we have a inbuilt policy engine, or you can say the business rule, which allows you to configure your business rules. So using that engine, you can configure that whenever a test case fails, a defect needs to be created, because it is mainly a event action based type of thing. We have four different types of business rules can be defined. One can be event based, one can be schedule based, then another may be based on escalation. So these type of business rules can be defined. So what you can do whenever a test case fails, you can say that the event is test case failure and the action would be creation of defects. And when you configure this, you can actually define the different attribute values that the defect will have. So another question is, how Kovair ITM helps execute test cases manually or with automation? Okay, fine. So the answer to this is, as I was saying, that Kovair has a manual test management system built in within the tool. And for automation, it does not provide anything of its own, but through integration, it achieves that. And with the combination of this, we give the entire testing a different automation level, wherein users can, as I was saying during the presentation, that the users can actually start the testing automatically after the build is done and produce the result accordingly, and then pass those results to the entire system so that the quality manager or the project manager gets an insight into it. So next, the question is, I think there is one more question that, okay, as you mentioned, it is from Vikram, as you mentioned, how it raises defect automatically with severity, priority, and defect description. Yeah, so severity, priority, you can put some basic values, or you can say certain rules that, okay, let's say there are certain 3 fields in the defect, and based on the values of those 3 fields, which are lookup based fields, you want to set the priority. So Kovair has a concept of calculated field, wherein what you can do that based on different field values, you can say that if, let's say, the value of field 1 is X, and then the value of field 2 is Y, and the value of field 3 is Z, then with the combination of X, Y, Z, the priority should be 1 or high. Or let's say if the combination is A, B, C, then the priority should be medium or 2. So this way you can actually set the priority values or the severity values for the defect. Yeah, for the defect description, when you are creating the defect automatically, then we have the defect description would be rudimentary, but yes, there is something in our roadmap by which what we will do, that when this defect is getting created automatically, if any attachment needs to be attached, then that should also get attached. So this way, that is on the roadmap, that is not there till now. So let me just check if there is any other question, or rather than I think will be done. So yeah, so there is another question from, okay, so there is another question from Vikram, that how it differs from using of Confluence, Bitbucket, Bamboo, Zephyr for Jira or Jira. Yeah, so for that, Vikram, I would say that it is not possible to compare Kovair with all these tools within this short span of time. So what I would say that, yeah, given your mail address, we will send you the comparison document, that how we are different from these tools. Then does it support defect tracking tool Mantis? No, as of now Mantis integration is not there, Vikram. But what we say that for any new tool, if it is a COTS tool, then we generally take 4 to 6 weeks to develop an adapter or a connector for it and make it a part of the ecosystem. And for some homegrown tools, I mean, in general, we take 4 to 6 weeks, but if there is a limitation of the API of the tool or if there is any complexity that needs to be taken care of separately, then obviously it takes around 6 to 8 weeks. So another question from Ravindra, does Kovair helps in other tools if other tools like Eclipse, Jira, etc. are not available? Yeah, definitely. Only thing is that Kovair does not have any IDE of its own. So on the Eclipse part, it cannot help. It has to be some other IDEs, if not Eclipse, let's say Visual Studio or something. But other than that, Kovair has a own solution. I mean, has a solution of its own for, let's say, requirements management, then defect management, test management, project management, or release management, things like that. Then the next question is from Ravi. Does Kovair also provide guidance for a DevOps environment setup with the tools we have currently? Yeah, definitely, Ravi. So what Kovair does that with all the tools that you have currently in your ecosystem, if we can have a chat on that, and then we can suggest you an integrated scenario using those tools so that you can achieve your DevOps smoothly. So any other question? I think, Aradhana, I am done with it. Okay, so there is, Okay, so there is one final question, that does Kovair support mail integration to notify developers if any defect has been raised through Kovair business rules? Yes, the answer is yes, and not only notify developers, but also if you are using the Kovair workflow, then automatically a task gets created for the developer and it appears in the to-do list of the developer. So I think that's it from my side, Radhana, and I think there are no more questions. So thanks everyone for attending the webinar.
Thank you, Amit. I'm really thankful to our guest speaker today for conducting this wonderful webinar with us. It was indeed a great session. So if you would like to sum up the session for today, you can do it now.
Yeah, so I think that's it, Aradhana. So I would like to thank everyone who attended this webinar on behalf of Kovair. And for any further queries, as you can see on the screen, for any further queries or QA, you can obviously contact our sales team, which is sales@kovair.com, and you can visit our website, www.kovair.com. So thanks everybody. Have a great weekend ahead.
And I would also like to thank all our participants for their support in making this webinar a success. The recording of the webinar will be available on techgeek.com as soon as possible. So stay tuned. Thank you all for joining us today. Thank you, Amit, for taking the time out and having us. I hope you have a great weekend ahead too.
Yeah, thank you, Adam.
Thank you. Bye-bye.